just a quick review of the DonJoy Performance Bionic Fullstop ACL knee brace. Say that 3 times in a row. Anyway, this is kind of a unique brace, I think. It has 2 hinges on each side. It's made specifically to prevent ACL injuries. So ACL is your anterior cruciate ligament. And your anterior cruciate ligament is frequently injured when you hyperextend your knee. So extending your knee means that basically your knee is straight, and hyperextending is when you go beyond that. So it kind of goes, your kneecap kind of goes backwards, and that really stresses your ACL or anterior cruciate ligament and can tear it. So that's a frequent injury. So this brace is designed, to prevent that. Also would be good for people that have already had prior ACL injuries. Say if you have an existing tear or you've had surgery, you just want to prevent any future problems. It's good for that as well. Or you're waiting for your ACL, to heal up. So that's basically what it's made for. A few points about it. It does have 4 straps here, 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. So a lot of adjustability with this one, which I really like. So if you need to make it a little tighter here, a little looser here, you can do that. So it's, it's customizable to a point. Other thing to know, this is hand wash only, kind of a no-brainer, but just, you need to know that. Because if you wear this a lot, especially when you're active, it's going to get sweaty eventually and it's going to start smelling. So then you're going to have to do something about washing it. So can't throw it in the washing machine, unfortunately. So basically it's pretty much kind of hand wash only. So anyway, other things, if you do have an ACL problem that you can do, resource, this one is Bulletproof Your Knee. Definitely make sure you strengthen your quadriceps muscle. Basically, not just ACL problems, but just about any knee problem you can name. I can probably show you a study that's showing you probably have a problem with your quadriceps muscle, meaning it's either weaker than normal, or if they do a CT scan, they look at the cross-sectional area, it might be smaller than normal. So keeping your quadriceps strong is really a big deal. It's a selective problem too. So it's not just, when you take a person with a certain knee problem, like say an ACL injury, and you muscle test all the muscles around the knee, the quadriceps are the ones that really take the biggest hit. So going over a few problems, knee swelling in the quadriceps, even if you have as little as 20 milliliters of fluid in your knee, which is just over a tablespoon, it's enough to decrease the strength of your quadriceps muscle. So say you do have an ACL tear, you get some swelling in there, you have chronic swelling, that's going to really make your take a hit off the strength of your quadriceps muscle. Knee injuries in the quadriceps, here they're talking about if you've had any, you've broken your lower leg bone, if you ever had surgery where they open up your knee joint, researchers find that you have a decreased strength in your quadriceps muscle. So ligament problems, we talked about this, anterior cruciate ligament. Here's something. One study looked at people who had completely ruptured their ACL and were scheduled for surgical reconstruction. Research found the strength of their quadriceps muscle in the injured leg was decreased by 25 to 30%. So that's a huge hit in your stability, because the quadriceps is really a big stabilizer of your knee. It's the main stabilizer. It really holds everything in place. And if you knock the strength down 25 to 30%, kind of hard to come back from that and get pain-free. Also, same thing with the posterior cruciate ligament, medial collateral ligament, that kind of stuff. Knee arthritis, interesting. When you take a group of people with knee arthritis and you muscle test their quads, they're really weak compared to the other muscles around the knee. And then, it's a funny thing, they also find that people with the strongest quads have least progression of their knee arthritis. So the stronger your quads are, it kind of interrupts the whole pathological process too. Patellofemoral pain, so the list goes on and on. Other things you can do, fine-tune control over your knee. Here they're talking mainly about the hip. Sometimes if you have a knee problem, it's not because of anything going on in the knee, it's because you might have a problem up at the hip. Classic cases like iliotibial band syndrome. If you take a group of people with iliotibial band syndrome, you muscle test them, they have unusually weak hip abductors. And that's a muscle that keeps your pelvis level every time you take a step, brings your leg out to the side. Likewise, here again, randomized controlled trials, if you take a group of people with iliotibial band syndrome and you strengthen their hip abductors, iliotibial band syndrome starts to go away. So isn't that interesting? Knee flexibility, we all know you need to have a flexible knee. It needs to bend and straighten. What a lot of people don't know is that your knee also rotates. So about the last 10 to 15 degrees of extension, that's you straightening your leg, it actually rotates laterally or out to the side. And here's a little test to see if you have that motion. It's the accessory motion that you really need to have a fully functioning knee. So we get to do that test and see where you're at. Increased dynamic knee stability. Here they're talking about proprioception. So proprioception is your position sense. So if I suddenly turned off the lights, you'd probably be able to tell me whether your knee is bent or straight. That's because you have joint receptors and receptors in the muscles around the knee that give your brain constant feedback as to where your knee is in space. and gives you that position sense. What they find is that a lot of people with knee problems, researchers are getting around testing proprioception, and they find it's decreased. And it's not like you don't know where your knee is anymore, because that would be like a neurological kind of disorder. But they find that it's just not what it should be, so that impacts like your reaction times of your knee and stabilizing your knee. So lots of other stuff you can do. But hey, putting on a brace, if you need to prevent a problem, ACL problem, this is a good brace. If you just have generalized knee pain, and you're looking for some solid stability, this is a good brace. So check it out.